Right, so this is a GCOR interview. Last week we did one with Giconas, the world champion, and now we're doing one with his rival, potential rival this season again, Hurricane. Hurricane, before we start, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm fine. Freezing, but apart from that, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so we'll start with question one. So going back, last season you didn't manage to win the title. How have you felt about it since you were hindered by other drivers getting involved in it just to the driver error?
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at it, I would say a lot of the incidents were out of my control. I mean, and I can't fully say that because I put myself in position to get wrecked, but I also wasn't the one who really caused myself to get wrecked. I just put myself in the position sometimes, like at Australia, I was leading, and then I didn't realize there was no formation lap, and then I got back in the pack, and I put myself in that position because I wasn't paying attention to get wrecked, and I got punted, which wasn't in my control, but I put myself in that position. So just a lot of little things, and there were so many areas where I could have gained the 2 points, or what I think it was like 1 or 2 points. I don't remember. There's so many. It was a lot out of my control. Like in Brazil, Walter lost his rear end, and then I hit him because I had no time to react and had to replace the front wing. And I think my original strategy would have won the race. So it's just all the little things that add up.
Okay, yeah. Moving on. Basically on the same topic, there were a few incidents like Canada where you were doing the brake to warm up your tyre trick and accidentally let go and then span off into a wall. And if that didn't happen, you might be in a different position here. Are you changing the way you approach races with that in mind now, as it may cost you potential future championships? Or
Luckily in that Canada race, I came from last to win. Luckily, I got away with that one, but it does. I mean, I feel like every time I've made one mistake, I've never made it again. Like all those mistakes I made in my rookie season, which were a lot, I made a lot. I've never made it twice. So I just think, I mean, every mistake has made me better. I haven't, like I've said before, I just haven't made it again. Every time I've made one, I've learned from it, and I've kept clean. I mean, I've hardly any DNFs. The only DNF I have was Australia, and then the only other one I can remember, or the only really one I have is from a sprint race at Coda, which when we got to the race, I won it. So I've really kept my nose clean while having a good amount of pace. So I mean, yeah, I'm gonna learn from it and apply it to future races, which at the end of the day will just make me better.
okay, right. So you own Aston Martin now, and I think you did own it partially during last season, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit ownership back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this season now that Matt's obviously left, I was surprised to not see you go and join Alpine, as he is now not. Sorry, I mean I was surprised I didn't see you go and join Aston Martin. Why is it that you've decided to stay, even though you now have a rival and Matt owning your team? Why is it you've decided to stay?
I mean, at the end of the day, he's been very good to me. He always has from the moment I joined the team. And I'm not ready to let that. I think in the future there's a possibility that I go to Aston. That I'm not ruling it out by any means. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it. I will put that out there. But at the end of the day, I like what I have going there right now, and I think there could be a change in the future. But I'm not really looking at that right now. And Matt's a good owner. I really hope with him being at Mercedes, it doesn't hurt too much on the Alpine side. I'm hoping that by a lot, but he's been pretty good to me, so I want to keep it going for at least another, some more seasons, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have a set timeline, but just it's a good relationship right now, so I just don't see any reason to cut that off right now.
Yep. In last week's interview at the season award ceremony, I asked Matt the question of, obviously he now owns Alpine, but he drives for Mercedes, and if he would have any bias, and he was very brutally honest in saying he'll try his best, but he's not really that sure. Is that disappointing to you, or?
I don't know. It's definitely like, you think about it, of course, but I mean, I know GM7 has some tight restrictions with their drivers. I've seen it with their past drivers, and it'll probably happen again next season. So, I mean, I'm a little bit worried. I was definitely disappointed to see him leave Alpine, to be honest with you. I mean, I know a lot of people want to go to GN7 because of their success. But I don't know. I just feel like we had a good thing going. But I mean, I'm a little bit worried about it. I'm not gonna, make that take. I'm not gonna let it take away my focus from my goals next season. But it's always something in the back of my mind for sure.
Yeah. And obviously now this season you have, well, Alpine have signed Cyrax to be your teammate. How much of a say did you have in the signing of him?
Yeah, he wasn't even really on their radar until I said something. See, they wanted to have a GN7 driver in that second seat, and I didn't want that because if I'm going to be brutally honest here, the GN7 their young drivers just they're not great. They're not they're not great teammates. I've seen it from past things. I'm not saying all of them are bad because not all of them are. I'm just saying some of them have caused quite a few incidents and just a lot of trouble. So I want someone who I know is clean and who I know is fast, and I wanted someone who I know can help me challenge for constructors with Alpine and all that.
So that's interesting. So is Matt planning to sort of make Mercedes and Alpine both like an affiliation, like combined, or?
I mean, I don't know 100%, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure that was the original plan until I kind of motivated them to sign Cyrax and all that.
That's,
And I messaged Chaconas to I'll see if he could allow Cyrax to be my teammate. So I mean, I'm glad. I don't know really what the process was. I wasn't involved in that, but if it was Chaconas who allowed it, then I thank him for that, and I thank also Matt for allowing it to happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
it is believed that the build up to Matt leaving for Mercedes was going on during like the second half of last season. Does that give you any secret hints at possibly him not wanting you to win that championship or trying perhaps less, or?
I mean, either way, I'm gonna go for it. If he wants to challenge me, then that's fine. There's no problem. If that was your question, I don't know if I heard it wrong, but if he wants to challenge me for it, then there's no issue with that. You should, and I think honestly, Matt should challenge Chaconas for the championship. I don't think Matt should be stuck in a number 2 role, but I'm not. Whatever he does, I'm not gonna stop fighting for it. I'm always gonna fight for it, no matter what. So yeah.
So on to your drivers for Aston Martin. You have Sid Kofa. Was he signed? In fact, no, he was banned last season, wasn't he? So it's this season you've signed him, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, well, what was it that made you decide to sign him? Obviously, it was planned to originally be with Cyrax. Him and Sid Kofa, Sid Kofa and Cyrax were supposed to be teammates at Aston Martin. What made Cyrax get the upper hand on Sid Kofa when being considered for that Alpine spot?
Probably just because I worked with Cyrex a lot, prior to signing Sid Kofa and all that. I don't know. We have feel like a little bit more. I mean, I like Sid Kofa a lot. I like him a lot, but I feel like me and Cyrex have more chemistry, and we work maybe just a little bit better with each other. I mean, I work well with Sid Kofa when we do work with each other, but I just feel like me and Cyrex have more chemistry, and he's already had experience within Alpine before. He drove the first half of the season for them, so I just feel like we have good chemistry.
Cyrax had a very poor second half of the season. Is that something you believe that he'll improve this season, or what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, Cyrex, I mean, he had to transition teams, which is not easy for anybody. And plus, he was driving a bunch of old Penix Devon cars because a skin dog tore up all our cars. So, yeah, that's the reason.
That's interesting with Skin Dog as well. I know that I looked back in earlier on in the season that you released him from Williams. What is his biggest weakness, Skin Dog, with like racing and just in general?
Well, I mean, he crashes a lot. Half his races were DNFs. I don't know how many of them were his fault. I know a good amount were, but I mean, I don't know. He has a lot of DNFs, and I don't know. He was just like, for no reason to me. I never did anything to him. He was just rude to me for no reason. I mean, I don't really care if people are rude to me. That's just the world we live in, right? But it was for no reason. There's no good reason. He was just like siding with Chaconas for like one time we had me and Chaconas. I don't remember what it was about. We had like a mini argument, and then he got like all like I don't know, cuddly the chick or whatever. And then when I had the bad race at Austria, and he was he was saying he was faster than me. I don't know. I mean, I just said like, well, I mean, I passed you on track cleanly, and I was getting used to a new wheel, and then he just kept, trying to argue about it. So I don't know. It was just I don't like dealing with people like that who are just I don't know. They can't really pick a side or anything, and obviously, when you tear up a bunch of cars, it's not great for the team and constructors or anything. So, and just the way he races, he doesn't race well, and then he blames really everything on other people. So I don't know. It's just a combination of things. I mean, I think he had potential at the beginning of the season. I still think he does, but he needs to just kind of get his mind in the right spot. To be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, so you've now signed Noah for the Aston Martin seat to replace Cyrax. Are you confident that he'll turn up fully, as he's spoken in chat recently, and it doesn't sound like he's very committed to racing full time?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's kind of on and off. I don't know. I have some other people in mind. If he doesn't, I mean, I'm not going to release him. I just have other people in mind for reserve kind of spots. So I'm not that worried about it. I mean, if Noah doesn't show up, then it is what it is, and I'll try and sign a good reserve driver or something. I'm not overly worried about it just yet. I mean, obviously, I'm going to need to sign someone else, so you can't have that seat open. But I think we'll be fine.
You and, well, both McLaren drivers, you've had some drama with them last season, both Walter and Ollie. They are predicted to be one of the title challengers this season. Is that going to be an interesting one this season, as both of these, well, have had drama with each other this season? I mean, last season, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of the same situation with, well, I mean, with Ollie, like, I don't know, I'd never really did anything to him, and then he would, like, just start arguments with me for no reason. So, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about him. I never got into him or anything. So, I don't know. He just started random arguments with me for some reason. Then, I mean, Walter, I mean, he kind of did take away I mean, I'm not going to fully blame it on him, but he took, with that issue he had, and, I was obviously frustrated that I lost the title. But, I mean, other than that, then he started I mean, I'm fine with him now. I'm cool with him, but like, I don't know. The argument was kind of dumb, but the ones with Ollie, I mean, I don't know. I never got into him. He just started random arguments with me for no reason at all. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So it was seen in the news channel that Sidkofa wasn't very happy when you signed Noah to Aston Martin, where he said he basically better just go and sign for Red Bull if Noah's his teammate. What was that considered before signing Noah, or do you feel that Sidkofa has some work to do with, like, getting better relationships with certain drivers?
I mean, from past experiences, Kofa never had an issue with Noah, so I thought there would be. I mean, obviously, I usually communicate with drivers before I sign someone, but in this series, I don't know. I just feel like you got to get who you can, really. Like, when the season's closing in, and Noah's obviously pretty good, and they've never really had an issue with each other, so I just didn't think there'd be a problem. But probably in the future, I should probably have a little bit better communication. But yeah, I do think Sikova needs to be. I mean, I don't know. For the most part, he's cool and stuff, but he needs to be a little bit more open minded, I guess. But I'm not that worried about it right now. But I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and last season you did improve eventually from the season before, and you finished second, of course. Only a few points off the lead, but still massive progress. Are you aiming to finish even higher or match your result last season, or?
I mean, well, statistics wise, there was definitely more opportunities for podiums. I think I could have had 8 or 9, but I matched my last season's podium probably like 6. And I think there was a lot more like, and that's in the race. I'm not counting sprint races. So I mean, I don't know. My goal is to get those that number 8 amount of podiums next season for sure. I would like to up the win tally by at least maybe 1. I don't know, like go from 2 wins this season to 3 next season. And my goal is to finish 1 spot higher in the championship. So yeah.
So you're aiming for the title then this season?
Yep. I mean, the way I lost the last season, there's really no other option for me but to aim for that. So I mean, I know the competition is going to be better, but I feel like I'm better as well. I was off. I was off F1 for ever since the end of the off season, and then I got back on, and I felt even faster without even practicing. I felt a lot better about where I was, and I was just being more aggressive overall, and I kept the car straight, being more aggressive. So that leads to more speed lap after lap. So I'm feeling good about where I am, and I'll say Probably still need a little bit more practice. Well, I mean, I still will, but I think overall I'm in a good spot for next season speed wise.
Ollie recently made a prediction list on Excel where he basically predicted how the championship would unfold. He placed you in the top five, and in front of you was Fuse. Obviously, Fuse is a rookie, well, sort of rookie from last season. What do you think of Fuse going into the season? Are you impressed by his quick debut? Or?
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, he showed good amount of speed right off the bat, which is good. But I mean, I don't know. Again, he was one of those guys who I don't know talked a little shit when I didn't even do anything. So he needs to, these drivers need to put that behind them. They just need to focus on them. That's what I do. That's why I don't really. You see, like Ollie made prediction that I was going to finish sixth in a bunch of races and barely get any podiums this season. I didn't argue with him about it because I do all my talking on the track. I don't talk shit off the track. I do all the talking on the track. So yeah, and predictions don't really get me down. It just honestly makes me even better because there's been times before where people have predicted me to finish low, and then that motivates me to do more, and then I finish way higher than the people who predicted it. So you just got to do your own thing, and you got to do your talking on the track, not off the track, and that's what I've always done in GCOR for the most part. Maybe my rookie season I didn't do that as much, but in the second season I decided to do that, and it's worked for me. So I just I do all my talking on track, not off.
Finally, this is the last question of the interview. We are approaching the start of pre-season Bahrain tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I keep on getting my times wrong. Sorry, on Saturday. How much improvement have you saw from last season? Is there any specific time gain you're willing to let me know? Or?
I mean, I've only really done one session, but I was up to speed on a track that I thought I would do absolutely horrible at. So I learned the track like within a lap. I was doing time trial kind of laps, and I wasn't even in time trial. I was doing short qualifying. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel I feel fresh because last season I kind of feel like sometimes I overdid it, and then it felt like a chore, and then that kind of demotivated me. But I feel fresh right now, and I mean, I don't know. I wasn't even cold when I started up the game. Like usually I'm really slow right off the bat. I was warmed up immediately, and I was putting in good laps immediately at a track I've never been to before. So I mean, I think I'll be better the next season. I hope so. I mean, I don't really like to say until preseason and the first two races of the season are done with. That's when you really can tell, in my opinion. But I'm hoping to be faster. I'm trying a few new little things out that hopefully are gaining me some lap time. But I can't really tell until preseason and probably the first two races. And yeah, but we'll see after those happen. And I've started to. I'm not fully making my own setups. I'm taking a baseline setup and then modifying it heavily to. I mean, I've modified multiple setups really heavily to my liking, and they've been pretty quick. Some of them not as quick as others. So then I'll just tune on those and make them quicker, or completely change them. It just kind of depends how the speed was. So, yeah, I think me making those setups now and also finding a little bits of time is just going to help me overall.
There I go. That is the end of the interview.